Pumpkin King art, fan art, and prop replicas. Project Spotlight Episode 4, Early 1900s Logging Diorama. Alright, welcome to Episode 4 of my Project Spotlight series. Today's episode is about my logging in Eastern Kentucky, 1900 to 1935. It's focusing on Estill County. This was an exhibit I had up at Berea College as part of my Appalachian Studies capstone. It was in the Lloyd-Jones Appalachian Center Museum for about 8 years until they needed to make some renovations, and then it came home with me. Pretty soon I'll plan on doing some restoration to it, and after I get it restored, I want to build a new display case for it. And like the curator at the Lloyd-Jones Appalachian Museum said, he said it was a really good piece and it really deserves to be on display to the public. So I'm in hopes after I get my new display case built that I may be able to find a public space for this. So the interior part here was completely made by me from scratch and some stuff from Hobby Lobby. And then all the information here was research that I done for my capstone. This was a hand-drawn diagram that I made. And then all the photographs here are from either Berea College's archives or, was it Alice Lloyd? I believe it's the other place that I got these images from. It was in between Berea College and Alice Lloyd. Their special collections and archives. Alright, so let's get in here for a closer look. Alright, so here are some of the resources I was using in this project. A touch of royalty, a brief look at the Combs and Lundgren families. Breathitt County is a really good book. It does explain a lot about what logging was like at that point in time in history in Eastern Kentucky. I was wrong. All of the photos I got were from Berea College's special collections, but I did look during my research at some photographs and stuff at Alice Lloyd. Alright, so here, let's get a closer look at some of these photos. Several of these photos are actually from what took place in Estill County along the Station Camp Creek. I believe that's the reason why I was so drawn to this project. It was from my hometown, and a lot of my family done this. Alright, so Dr. Miller, the curator at the Lloyd-Jones Appalachian Museum, even though I, looked up and found all the information and all the photos, he was very nice in helping me get the design for all the displays for the information. He helped me design this, and he helped show me how to create a lot of this other stuff. He taught me how to cut a lot of poster board foam and how to use it. And that's amazing. It's a skill I still use today in a lot of my projects. Alright, as you can see here, this is the diorama itself. This here is actually a representation of my other college professor in the Appalachian department, the head of the Appalachian department, Dr. Green. It's supposed to be him as a young man. And then when I told that to him, he thought that was really neat. He asked me about the other representations. Was there any other representations in this? And at the point in time, I didn't have a really good answer, but I've got a good answer now. Everybody else that I included in this are representations of the old-timers and the loggers from the community that I'm from. I had a lot of family that was in the logging industry. And I tell you what, a lot of them still dressed like they did back in the early 1900s, because that was the time they grew up in. when they were little boys, and they still look like that even when I was growing up in the 90s. Right here, so this is one of the rafts like they would have used to float all the logs down the river till they got to a very large sawmill to sell them at. They would use oxes or mules to haul in part of the logs that they cut, or they also would use log flumes. They would take and dam up creeks, and they would let it fill up with water, and then they would pull the dam door loose and let all the logs float down to wherever they need them to be. Alright, so I'm going to say it again. I am very thankful for the help that Dr. Miller gave me in creating the information displays. But I wanted to make sure that it was understood that the diorama part itself is 100% me. It was all skills that I had built before I got started on this project. Alright, so now I want to talk more about the details I included in this and how I made part of this stuff. Alright, so the main part of the land is just Crayola air dry clay. And then when it started cracking apart, I just simply filled it with model kit crack filler and smoothed it out. And I painted everything with acrylic paints. The water is just the pour out air dry water that you get for like train model kits from, I believe it's Woodland Science that makes it. Alright, and if you notice the trees here, I actually made them from branches of real trees from the Estill County area. And then I took real leaves and ground them up and made leaf litter, because anytime you see a forest, you have leaf litter. I want to include that detail. And I took and added, made sure that there were like patches in the grass, because whenever you have a logging operation, it's usually kind of muddy. It's actually not very pretty sight where grass disappears. And if you notice over here, this is a brush pile from where they have cut stuff off of the logs. You see here there are tree stumps where they cut trees down. Built the little log flume in the dam. Like I said before, in this diorama I decided to use oxes instead of mules, because we use both in Appalachia, oxes and mules, to haul stuff with. If you look close at the yoke, I handmade the yoke from a popsicle stick. I took and used a Dremel and sanded it down and cut it into shape. As you can see here, there's the oar that they would use, like the rudder they would use to turn the log raft. As you can see, some of it's cracking out, so I am going to be reworking part of this and repainting it. I still have a lot of the original supplies for this, so it should be an easy fix. One thing I'm thinking about possibly changing is maybe making the tree line a little thicker, and then maybe adding something behind it to give it a little more depth. I don't know. Might add some new things, or I might just leave it the same, just do some restoration work. As you can see here, there's been some age wear. I want to repair it. And then there is a little bit of an accident. I hit some of the trees. Need to repair those. So hopefully next episode, I will be coming back and doing repairs on this and maybe adding some new stuff. I kind of thought, well, I'd like to kind of keep the piece as it is, but since I actually am the artist behind it and I've got some new skills, I might want to add some extra details into this to make it even better before it goes back on display again. Alright, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Warning, warning, never use air-dry clay as a base. I soon learned in the restoration project that everything had crumbled. Use plaster of Paris as a base if you want your project to last. Please like, subscribe, comment, and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and DeviantArt. Have a blessed day.